Okay, I'm recording.
I'm also recording.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to Wingin' It, the West
Welcome,
Wing
guys.
podcast. How's everyone doing today?
I'm
Good?
doing good. Yep.
Great. I'm
It
glad.
is. Yeah, it is hella hot outside.
It is real hot. So hot I couldn't
Right.
even say the ly of that word.
It is unreal. Hopefully some of you listeners live up north and maybe it's not so hot there, but it's pretty
Yeah.
dang hot here. So
Big shout out to all of our Alaskan listeners.
yeah, really. This is exactly what we want
Can,
to do is talk about the weather,
can,
right?
Can we come stay with you? Yes. Welcome to the West Wing Podcast, where we do actually talk about the West Wing. My name is Andrea. This is Sally, of course.
Hey.
And we're here to talk about Season 2, Episode 6, The Lame Duck Congress. Oh, yeah.
Wah, wah.
I Tell me how you really feel about that.
I don't feel strongly about this episode. I don't dislike it, but it was just kind of blah for me. Did you
Do you think?
feel that way?
Do you feel like if it had a better name, it would have? Do you think kind of preconditioned
that just
you?
messed with my brain? Maybe so. The last episode was really good, and
Yes.
it's hard for the West Wing when they have super great episodes. Like every episode can't be 100%. It's just just not possible statistically for every episode to be super strong. So it's hard when you have a really good episode and then after it you have a really episode, which is not to say it's a bad episode, because like we've said before, even the blah episodes of The West Wing are still better than so much other TV. But
true.
I love it, and it's surely to their credit, I love the last episode. So I think coming off that, it's just it didn't feel like a lot of action. I wasn't super invested in these stories.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree with you on that. But honestly, I feel like the name. I mean, I know it's an actual term for
Right.
a thing that happens in politics, the lame duck
Yeah.
Congress. But seriously, guys, if we called it what else could we call it? Like drunk Russian in the mural room. Maybe it would have had a fighting chance for greatness.
Maybe, yeah.
But we're going to talk about it anyway, because we talk about every episode.
Yeah, let's talk about it. There's still tons to talk about, or plenty to talk about. Maybe not tons. Should we start? I guess I can start with the tic-tac.
Tick it. Tick-tock it.
For those who haven't seen this one in a while, there are a few things going on. One of them is that there is a test ban treaty. This is the main thing. There's a test ban treaty that our group wants to pass, that our little family wants to pass, and there's a debate about whether they should bring in the Congress, which is already in recess, to vote on it because they think they could win with that one and not with the new Congress coming in. So that's a big thing. That's the lame duck Congress, blah, blah, blah. And that's the main storyline. There's also Donna's upset. She's trying to eliminate carpal tunnel in the workplace. She's on a little rampage about that, which is fun. I'm trying to think of... Oh, we have the drunk Kononov, who is a member of the Ukraine parliament, shows up to the White House a little intoxicated.
Yeah, in the driveway.
Yep.
Wanting to talk to President Bartlett. Yep, that happened.
That's sort of it. Oh, Ainsley Hayes helps Sam.
Yes,
and
lest we not forget. Yes,
yeah,
that I think is my favorite part of the whole
I think
episode.
It might be too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much, it's a short one. It's 42 minutes like all the rest. But, yeah, so,
there weren't a lot of, big things. There weren't a lot of, heavy storylines, which is fine. There are other episodes. Even the next episode, the Portland trip, doesn't have, super heavy storylines, but I still felt more pulled in. So I don't know what it was about this episode. Maybe our listeners totally disagree. This could be a great episode for people. Yeah. I'm interested to hear theories on if other people love it or why it's sort of if other people feel the same way. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. Someone else tell us if you really like this episode.
Yeah.
The Lame Duck
Maybe
Congress.
We're missing something.
Is this your go-to?
No.
Yeah.
The fun thing, let's start with the fun thing. The Sam and Ainsley storyline was fun, I thought.
Good.
It was a cute storyline.
It was cute. So, Leo, I guess we could back up just a little bit because
Yeah.
Everyone's a tizzy about, like, whether or not they should go try to pull off this lame duck session vote about the test ban treaty, whatever. And so
Right.
everyone's talking over each other in the Oval, all the family, and and Leo just felt like it felt like a circus in there. So he pulls everybody into his office and he's like, "Listen, guys, it feels like I'm a substitute teacher at best, and, like, we really got to rein it in here, people." So he says that, like, they need to shorten their, first of all, he has to give his initials on anything that they want to run by the president. And so that means he needs a 2-page summary of any, like, policy initiative.
Yeah.
And that's, like, of course Sam is concerned about this. Like, he can't do his best work.
Josh too says, "You're cramping my style," and which makes perfect sense. Like, thinking of this team writing up 2-page summaries for, like, what they want to do just doesn't fly. Like, they are the team that just, like, runs in there and is like, you know, to the extent you can in the president's office. That's sort of like what makes them fun to watch, and you just know this isn't going to fly with these people.
Yeah, a 2-page summary of all the things that they have to talk about. It's probably like trying to do it Twitter-sized. Like, how in the world are we going to do that? And yeah, Josh is like, "You're going to cramp my style." And Leo's all like, "Well, maybe your style needs to be cramped."
Yeah.
But I understand that. It's hard to be brief. Brevity, never my strong suit.
And Leo's a little, well, I don't know if he's a little, like, wounded. They're having all these articles written about them, and it is not looking good for them. So I feel like I feel like I don't want to say his pride is wounded, because he doesn't seem like that at all, but the substitute teacher comparison he seems to, like, take that kind of personally and, like, let that, you know, enforce. That's why he's, like, enforcing this. So I think that's interesting, because we haven't dealt a ton. Obviously, we deal with, like, how the press reacts to the White House and, like, things going on. But, you know, in this world that they have to be hearing, like, bad press stories all the time. And it's interesting to sort of deal with that, like, oh, hey, these guys are also in the public eye. Like, everything that they do is scrutinized and written about. So I sort of liked bringing that in. I almost wish they would have brought it in a little more. But they do in the future, so.
Well, yes. So I guess all that to say that's the reason why Sam has Ainsley help him, is because he needs to have an abbreviated version of a memo, a 22-page memo turned into a 2-page memo.
Yeah. So, which I like, but is it odd? And it really turned out to just be for story purposes, because he would not call someone from the counsel's office to do that unless it was specifically a legal issue that he also wanted her, like, input in. I mean, he has a whole communications team, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's like they never want to use anybody from their office. I just watched something in the later seasons when I was on vacation. The Wingers
skipping around.
On vacation. Yeah, I was skipping around, but I always make sure I skip way far ahead so I don't think that what's happening is what we're actually going to talk about.
Right.
Yeah. I'm on purpose for that. But even in that episode, it's like they don't want to use anybody else in the office. They don't want to use any of the other, like, speechwriting staff. But that's okay, because I liked the thing.
Exactly. I love the story it gives us, so I'm not complaining. But it's just interesting, because my first reaction was Ainsley. Why would you immediately call Ainsley? You know, but because it's Ainsley, that's why.
But it still felt to me, because the last episode ended on such a happy note, you know, where they're all, like, in her office singing show tunes and decorating it for her. It was really, really nice. And then when we see Sam talking to Ainsley in this episode, he's still very, like, kind of put off. Like, he's still very, like, cold to her. I
think he's sort of, like, I agree. I was thinking the same thing. I think he's sort of, the last time they were banding together because, like, you know, everything was going bad and they wanted to be on her team. So, like, now I feel like she's inducted in, and now she sort of gets not like roughhousing, but she sort of gets the banter and the, like, and it's a little more so, obviously, than what he would say to CJ or, like, giving her a hard time. I feel like it's like not a brotherly thing, but, like, I feel like it's just like because he says something about, I love the line where he's like, wherever you went to major in baton twirling or whatever.
Okay, I hated that line.
Did you?
I thought he was I thought that was the most, like, chauvinist, like, I'm not even a feminist. And I was like, that's uncalled for, Sam. Like, the whole way he said his whole thing with her, it just felt more than, like, giving her a hard time. Because I have 2 brothers. I understand. And I've seen those characters give other people, like, a hard time. But, like, I really felt like he had, like, a total chip on his shoulder. Like,
it could
okay, I'm
also
asking you
be
for
like
help, but still.
the kindergarten type, not like he doesn't want to admit how much he actually is like drawn to her, so he really is just going to be like,
he's overcompensating.
Yeah. I thought the
jerk.
line, obviously I get sensitive, not sensitive. Obviously I pay a lot of attention to like the role of women in the show and like all that kind of stuff. I thought the line was okay this time because I think Sam knew exactly what he was saying and he knew it was going to get under her skin in that way. I think that was purposeful sexism, purposeful him being chauvinistic. He knows she's overly qualified. He knows she didn't go for tom twirling. I'm pretty sure he also knows she's from North Carolina. Like, it all just felt very like, I'm not interested in you, you know?
Yeah, but wherever it is you learned baton twirling, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oy vey.
Yeah, but then that sets it up for Ainsley to just with no expression whatsoever say, that'd be Harvard Law School. Which
I mean, she was a total boss. Yeah,
so I loved that it
her.
gave her that outlet. I like how it ended, where it took the conversation was good.
It's true, and I know sometimes we get flack in the opposite direction. We were withheld a star because there's also the reverse as well, where she's like, "Oh, I want to learn from the master," and like he says it's not going to work, like when she plays it like that, which of course it does because hello, we know what we're doing.
Well, and because he really likes Ainsley, I really think it works as a tool because, I mean, we haven't come out and said it yet, but I think you can tell there's chemistry there, and I think that it might not have worked if it were another woman, but I think that he just has this thing for Ainsley, and I think that helped work because we see that a few times with Sam. That storyline is used at least once more, I know, where they sort of play to his, I think a couple more times, where they sort of play to his ego and to his, like, you know, oh, you're the best at this.
She called me the
master. From the best. Yeah. And I agree that is the reverse of it. And there's a very infamous scene with Josh, which is way down the road and just whatever. Where the tables are turned, for sure. But I also think, and I said this before, I also think a good bit of it is purposeful sexism. As with that line, and as with, you know, there's one where that general calls CJ Missy, or whatever he called her.
Yeah.
And she was
kitten.
like, no. Yeah, kitten. Yeah. Stuff like that. I think that has a place in this story because we can't just ignore the fact that there's sexism, especially in such a high-powered place. So, it evens out.
But yeah, it was enjoyable. Actually, this might be a good time to drop in this little audio clip as well, because later on, so she rewrites it, right? She rewrites it, makes it 2 pages, but in doing so, she also reversed his position on it.
Yes.
And he's just so like flummoxed at the fact that she did that. And it's wonderful.
I love it.
Yeah.
I just love that. I love that she thought to do that. I love that she was just like, well, you're wrong, so I fixed it. Like, I fixed it. Like, it just seemed like exactly what she should do to her, you know? Like, she was just like, well, that's just what I did. She didn't think twice about, like, oh, wait, this is the deputy communications director. Maybe I should do whatever. I don't know. I just loved it. Love Ainsley.
Yeah. And then, of course, like, he actually buys it, and he takes it to Leo, and he's like, okay, this is what we should do. And then that's kind of the end of the story. And this is her first time seeing how much of a direct effect she has on it. So I wanted to play this little audio clip.
That was it?
Yeah.
That was it?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
You don't understand what?
What just happened?
Leo said yes, we're in.
I don't understand.
Leo said yes, that's the end of the meeting.
I was just talking, Sam. I was just talking to you.
Well, we play with live ammo around here. You convinced me, I convinced Leo convinced the president.
Sam.
It's a short day, Ainsley, in a big country. We've got to move fast.
And so because I said this in here, the president in there is going to... You got to tell me when that's going to happen. Is this how you guys decide to go to war?
I don't know. I'm usually not in the room when they do that.
Sam.
Could somebody get her a cupcake or something?
Sam.
Oh my gosh, so good. I I think that I just think, and she also did this in the meeting, which was part of the deal. She's like, I'll help you, but you have to let me go with you to the hill and kind of learn from the master. And at the end of the meeting, she asked for like the muffin. And again, I've said this and you mocked me before, but I'm going to say it again, that like eating at the end of a meeting or during a meeting is a sign of power. It is. It's a sign of nonchalance, and it puts you like you don't care. It's like Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11. Look it up.
Did I mock you for that? I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I believe that. I think that's probably true. It might not be something I think about, but like it makes sense.
It's why I bring a fruit basket to all of my meetings. I just really like to make a point, and then I just like start peeling a banana, and I'm like, "What's up now, dog? You don't even know." Yeah,
perfect. But speaking of that meeting, Sam. We see Sam down to business a lot, but I really love seeing Sam. And Ainsley did great in this meeting, too. I love seeing Sam in business mode. Like, he's very quick-witted. He's very, like, to the point. And I don't know, he's just really great at what he does. Obviously, that's how he got to where he is. But it's just worth pointing out that it's fun to watch them in those meetings and watch them sort of sparring with the other side. They do a good job.
Yeah, they do. that really is the best part of this episode, I'd say.
But it led to one of my lesser favorite parts, which maybe this was just me being cynical, but the very, very end scene where they're like, or maybe, I think it's the end scene. It might not be. Anyway, it doesn't matter. When Ainsley is walking back with Sam, and they're standing in his office, and she's like, she had just finished that little speech, which that was cute, but then she's like, Sam, and then she, like, looks around at all the people working, and, like, this music's playing, and it's this panoramic shot of, like, the White House and people working, and, they're, like, doing the business of the country, and, like, and it just felt a little, it almost felt like that scene where they're all sitting on Josh's steps on election night. Her little speech and her little moment of awe was great, and then that was just, like, a little too far for me.
Yeah, I wrote that it was kind of a Full House ending.
Yeah, it felt a little cheesy because I thought her speech and her just being amazed, it could have just ended with her standing there like, this is great. Like I felt like that was legitimate. Impactful. Yeah, I thought that was moving. It's the same way that Charlie is when Charlie's like, it never gets old, you never get used to it or whatever he says. And I thought that was strong enough in itself. So. Just one little thing. But, hey, every episode can't be perfect. I'm just adding it to my list of things Sorkin should have done differently.
Oh, man. I mean, like, Bartlett invites Toby to go have cigars with him and play chess, and he's trying to be encouraging because Toby was trying to get the votes or trying to make sure they had enough votes to do this successfully throughout the episode, and it just didn't turn up. And then Bartlett's all like, we'll get him next time or something. Mm-hmm. And he's like, come play chess and smoke cigars. And the guy walks around the room and turns off the lights. And it was like, it's a little too neat. I mean, in the spectrum of like House of Cards versus West Wing, this is like way pendulum swinging to the one side. But that's okay.
I agree with that.
It's still good.
Let's talk about the lame duck Congress session. How did you feel about... I thought this was an interesting storyline because it sort of felt, to me, like it was kind of against what our team normally would do. You like how I call them our team? I just have started doing that.
I love it. It's great.
Because CJ makes the point, and the congressman ends up making the point. The congressman that they lose makes the point that, like, I've been voted out. Like, as far as, democracy and republic goes, like, it's not fair for me to come back and cast my vote. Like, they told me to leave. They told me they didn't want me casting my vote. And to me, that felt like something that Bartlett would feel and Toby would feel. Like, that felt in line with, like, their sense of justice. Like, yeah, we want to win and we want to get this across, but, like, it just doesn't feel right to call back a Congress with 12 people who have been voted out. Does that make sense?
Are you trying to bait me into a political debate? This is not going to go well.
No, I'm not, because I don't think it's political. Like, people have called Congress back on either side. Yeah. I just mean character-wise, it felt like something, they're very much about, like, justice and, like, this is what's right and, like, this, and, like, patriotism. And so when they were making the argument about, like, oh, they voted me out, they wouldn't want me, I don't feel like is this political? I don't know. As far as their characters go, it felt like something Bartlett would take a stand on. if that makes
Maybe.
sense.
I can see where you'd say that. However, I feel like they just felt so passionate about the issue that, like,
Yeah.
it was kind of one of those by any means necessary sort of
Yeah.
situations. I loved the part when, so like I said, Toby's out, like, trying to corral the votes and see, like, where everybody stands on everything. And he's, like, at lunch with these congressmen who are ordering, like, hipsters in a East Nashville coffee shop. Like, they're just special ordering everything. And he's just like, meat, cook it, scotch, I don't know.
Right.
And then when he comes back, I think it's Bonnie who's, like, giving a tour in the lobby, and Toby's walking in, and he's basically just, like, waxing philosophical about how important this whole issue is, and basically in front of everybody. I don't know, I liked it.
Ordinarily, I'd be allowed to show you more, but the president's in the West Wing right now, and when he's working in his office, we like to keep the area as calm as possible.
The whole damn world's flying apart at the equator. You know that, Bonnie?
This, of course, is my boss, Toby Ziegler.
Why is the Test Ban Treaty so important? Let me tell you. In 1974, India set off a peaceful nuclear explosion. Indira Gandhi herself said they had no intention of building a bomb. They just wanted to know that they could. 20 years later, India sets off 5 nuclear explosions. Who gets nervous? Pakistan. When Pakistan gets nervous, everybody gets nervous. You know why? Because we're all going to die.
I guess, well, and it's worth noting that CJ did feel that she didn't feel quite right about it. CJ did push back at the beginning. She was like, this isn't an extraordinary circumstance, and, like, these people have been voted out. So, I guess I just felt like, knowing what we know about the characters and how they are, that it seemed to me like that would be something, a belief that Barlow would also share. But I totally agree. Like, it was just something they were sort of not blinded by how much they wanted it, but, like, if there was a chance they could get it, that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. There was a small line. So in the whole Kononov scenario, he shows up drunk and he wants to talk to the president. Josh says there's a woman who's either his security attaché or a hooker. And Sam says, please tell me it's not Lori.
Josh's like,
funny.
It's no one you know, Sam. That was funny.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's not the one hooker that you know.
Yeah, really. Like, what are the odds of this?
Hey, you never know. It could have been an interesting storyline with her and then Ainsley, and I don't know.
Yeah. So this whole Kononov storyline was just sort of like blah for me. Because really, and maybe, because I know we've already talked about how that whole episode was for me, but this one of all of them was the most blah, because I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I just didn't care that much about it, or if I was just like, man, if I were the president of like, yeah, he just wants to say he's met the president, but, like, it is not okay for you to just show up drunk. And, like, yeah, you have to be diplomatic about it or whatever, so, like, we wanted to let him in, but, like, I don't know. It just didn't sit well with me.
Yeah. Although I did really like the fact that, I know it's manipulative, maybe that says bad things about me, but I really liked the way that they kind of orchestrated it. You know, the whole, like, well, you can't actually meet with him about this, but he is gonna stop in. Like, they used Donna as, like, a beard, to try to kind of like a decoy. And then the president accidentally stopped by, and then he can actually go back and say, in all truthfulness, that he met with the president, even though not in the capacity in which that he had wanted to. I just like that kind of thing. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool.
I do too. A little, like, loophole. That's a cool thing.
I like the manipulative loophole. and where Josh uses Donna to do it, and she's like, wait, my value here is because I have no value? He said, you have enormous value to me. You have no value to Eastern Europe. And I
wrote that one down too. That was cute. But 2 things about this storyline. One, I don't really know how we were supposed to feel about this guy, because we start the episode with, like, oh, he's coming, but, like, don't make eye contact. If you see him, go the other way, blah, blah, blah. And so you're sort of expected that, like, we aren't crazy about him. Like, that's the sort of vibe you get. And then he shows up drunk, and we're really not crazy about him. We're, like, sticking in whatever office, blah, blah, blah. Then at the end, when Bartlett meets him, he's sort of like, like, oh, we think you're great, and, like, one day you'll make a great president, you're going to do great things, or whatever it is of Ukraine. And he's like, you're going to do great things, and we can't wait for that. But until then, we have to be diplomatic about it and talk to who we need to talk to, which I totally get that part of it. Like, this is why we have to go about it this way and, like, sort of secretly. But it's just like, really, are we excited that this guy is going to be the leader one day? It sort of felt like a flip-flop to me. I was like, we set him up. It would have been a cool storyline if we, like, really liked this guy and we still got to see that manipulation of, like, oh, we're going to secretly meet you, but we're excited to meet you. I think I might have liked that better.
Yeah, it's confusing. The whole sentiment about this dude was just strange.
Oh, well.
But...
Oh, the other thing about it. Wait, one quick little thing is when we're talking about the manipulation in Leo's office, Leo is explaining to Josh that, like, they did this once with the Dalai Lama. And he says, when he's telling this story, he's talking about the president, like, running into the Dalai Lama, and he was like, oh, hey, Dalai Lama. We'll just drop it in.
I didn't meet the president accidentally. When I was labor secretary, we did it with the Dalai Lama. Obviously, Beijing doesn't want the president to have any diplomatic contact. So, they arrange a low-level meeting. Keep the door open. The president wanders by. Hey, how you doing, Dalai Lama?
Right? That's so great. I need that to be my ringtone. Like, that delivery is on
point.
Hey, how you doing, Dalai Lama?
It's perfect.
That's a dub smash right there.
So, I loved that. Worth mentioning.
Totally worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Not worth mentioning, I don't think. It's the whole, like, OSHA, like, reform that Donna's on like a crusade about. Like, I don't even understand, like, I didn't understand what she was actually going for. Like, does she want some sort of different type of keyboard or a different type of chair? Like, why now?
That's
and
true.
what was she hoping to get?
I didn't really get what she was going for. Because, and I even had the subtitles on, and I feel like I just missed, obviously she's going for some sort of reform that, like, they're not going to have to either be worked so hard or, like, they're typing so fast. Like, she wants to be taken care of. She wants them to, like, be taken care of, which is fine. And I get. But I didn't really get exactly what she was. Did she want new chairs? Did she want...
Exactly. There's no specificity to it.
I agree with that. But other than that, I loved the storyline. I thought it was great. And then when she found out that the OSHA rules don't apply to the White House, I thought all of that was really great. I thought it was a fun storyline. I loved Margaret, like, typing slowly. That was hilarious. I love when Leo's like, can you keep your people in line? And Josh says, well, there's been no evidence of it so far.
Yeah.
I loved everything else about it. So
that's true. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I really wanted to mention or ask your opinion on, so I guess I was going to say that, like, there hasn't been a lot with CJ and Danny in a while. Like, they were kind of rocky towards the end of season 1, and then they, like, got back to neutral, and then there's just kind of been nothing in terms of, like, relationship-y things, which, whatever, that's fine. Sometimes that's life. And CJ mentioned something about Danny having a job offer, like, to become an editor. Did I hear that right? I should really watch with the subtitles.
Yeah.
So for me...
You should give it a shot with the subtitles. You should do the next one with subtitles and just see what you think.
Then I feel like I would only read it, but clearly I need to. But it seemed to me that she, correct me if I'm wrong, that she wanted him to be leaning towards taking the editor position, so that way maybe they could date. Yes. So that way he wasn't the reporter, and he, I guess, just is going to turn down the job offer, and she was a little put off by that, kind of, because she thought that he wanted her. Okay, just want to make sure I was reading that correctly.
Yeah, that was the scene, and it was a good... I liked the interaction. I agree, though, that, like, it sort of drops off in the story. And I think, obviously, The West Wing is, like, my number one show. But if it had a problem, that would be my biggest complaint, is that it feels like the storylines weave in and out sometimes. And, like, you don't... Like, where have Zoe and Charlie been for, 5 episodes?
Yeah.
Like, Charlie just, like, everyone was almost shot, like, 6 episodes ago, and we haven't seen Zoe and Charlie. And, like, I get that, obviously, it's an ensemble cast. There's so much going on. There's so many storylines. Like, you can only do so much. Something's going to suffer. But that would be my only thing. Like, even a 5-second clip of Zoe just visiting Charlie. Or like, maybe we come into the office and Zoe's leaving, or something like that. And the same thing is true about CJ and Danny, and other relationships on here. and other characters. It's the whole like long form storytelling, the ability to keep something going. That would be like my only complaint, and not even complaint because it doesn't. I don't think it takes away from it. Obviously, it's still a wonderful, wonderful show. But I agree with you that like, because then when it's brought back up, like when CJ and Danny come back, we're sort of like, oh yeah, there's this.
Yeah, it's just been a long while.
A smidge, right?
Yeah.
But I liked this interaction. I like that CJ wants to be with him.
But she's standing in the way of her own happiness. She's the one saying that they can't date.
Well, but I get that.
I'm going to play devil's...
If you were press secretary, wouldn't you not want to date one of your White House reporters? I totally see the conflict of interest there.
However, I'm going to play devil's advocate. If you were to take this job and become the editor, like arguably a higher position, how is that any better?
Well, because then the only problem... Oh, because they're not working together individually. Like, she wouldn't be leaking stuff to hit directly to him. It might be to his paper or whatever, but it wouldn't be like Danny's the favorite. He would be more removed. And the White House, like if you're the editor, you have so many other things going on other than just the White House. Yeah,
but you ultimately decide what gets printed and what doesn't. Like, I wonder what her problem really is.
I think she's just scared of commitment. When he's a White House reporter, well, yeah, there's that. That's a whole other thing. But when you're a White House reporter, she has to interact with them on a daily basis, many times a day. And I think if he were the editor, there would still be some issues, but it wouldn't be something they would have to deal with.
She wouldn't see him.
Right. Well, that's true, but I feel like that's just a whole other thing that they all have to deal with anyway in their jobs.
Yeah.
But I just think it helps her a little bit, and I totally see her side of it. And I almost don't see Danny's. Like, he says he's a White House reporter, and I guess I get that like that's where he feels like he belongs and he doesn't want to move forward, but I don't know.
You think he should have accepted the job so he could be with her?
Not so he could be with her. I would think he should have accepted the job because, like, it's essentially a promotion. Like, it seems like a step forward. He seems like an ambitious guy. I guess if doing the White House is what he loves, then that's fine.
But it's a totally different job, editor, versus being a reporter. Completely different.
That's true.
Just ask Paris Giller. She would know. She would know.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but I'm glad we at least have them back together talking. Though I don't know how much more of it we get. Anyway.
Dun dun dun. Yeah. All right. Well, that kind of sums it up for me. Should we pick an MVP? Do you have anything else you want to mention?
I'm trying to look and see. No, I guess
I could mention one thing that's not related to this episode, but I feel like I just learned this yesterday, so I need to share it with you guys. Now, if you don't like Kanye West, that's okay. You're in a large majority of people. I don't know if majority is the right word. You're among a lot of people who don't like Kanye West. But if you're like me and you do, I discovered this thing on the internet yesterday called Kanye West Wing, and it is a Tumblr feed of images from the West Wing with Kanye lyrics on them. And it's perhaps the best thing I've ever seen ever.
Oh,
so if you like the West Wing and you like Kanye West, it's an explosion of goodness. So anyway, if you feel like checking that out, maybe we'll post it on Instagram. In fact, I probably will post it on Instagram, and people are going to be like, what? Cool. That's not a line from the show. And I'll be like, you're right. That's from a Yeezus song. Anyway, Kanye West Wing Tumblr. Saw it yesterday. I think it's hilarious and delightful. Yeah.
The only other thing worth mentioning is an IMDb trivia nugget this, I don't remember it happening, so hopefully it's true, but supposedly this is the first episode where the president calls CJ Claudia Jean.
Oh,
which is the first time we learn where that comes from. So, which is fun. It plays well down throughout the series, I think. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. I mean,
cool.
It was just an okay episode. I like the next one, the Portland trip, a lot better, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I like the next one better too.
So, but send us your thoughts.
There you go.
People.
Lame Duck Congress MVP.
MVP.
I'm gonna pick Ainsley.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Good enough for you to agree? Kanye West?
Kanye West for sure. I'm trying to think like if anybody else had a super strong episode. I'm gonna second Ainsley. She doesn't have that many episodes to start with, so I'm gonna second Ainsley because I thought she had a great episode.
Yes, hooray,
so done.
Ainsley.
2 for Ainsley.
We should really write to her.
Yeah, we should.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you on the next ep, which is the Portland trip.
Woo-hoo.
Woohoo!
Okay.
We're gonna sing retroactively. I know,
right,
we didn't feel like singing. Oh wow, that's low. Alright, let's just play the really abrupt music at the end like they do. Okay. You guys are used to it. Here you go. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.